Gary, is there any way to help protect our nest egg from the crushing bite of taxes?
You know, with some careful planning, you can do it. You don't want your life savings exposed to these expenses.
Don't go anywhere.
Retirement is more than a destination. It's a journey that starts with a dream, a vision for the way you want to live, recharge, and give back. To get there, you need a plan to reach your retirement goals. Gary Marriage of Nature Coast Financial Advisors has the strategies you need to plan for income, taxes, healthcare, and more. For years, Gary has been helping families plan for a successful retirement. Welcome to Coasting into Retirement with Gary Marriage.
I do think it's true. Most people, Gary, who save well for retirement think that their tax burden is going to shrink a little bit once they get to retirement. What's actually the case?
Boy, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it be nice? We all hope for it.
Yeah, so that was the key, as opposed to your taxes were supposed to be less when you retired. So you're going to work, make all this money and have really high taxes. And then in the future, you're going to have lower taxes. Oops, right? So the tax brackets are, unfortunately, they're written in pencil too. Right? So they're constantly changing. And so many people are finding out now, like, oh my gosh, I'm paying just as much, if not more in taxes than when I was working in the previous years. So what happened?
Yeah, I don't know. I do think a lot of us just, again, we don't think about it much, but this then becomes a real blind spot for our retirements, doesn't it? What's the cost of that?
Yeah, so just basically not looking at this, right? You're just kind of just flying through, and all of a sudden, like, many people last year paid taxes for the first time, and they never paid taxes before, like income taxes. That's because their accounts were growing, right? Or, you know, we see a lot of people paying too much in taxes because they're taking income from the wrong buckets, right? At the same time. Or when you get older, then you have to start taking these mandatory distributions out. And that's really going to start taxing you more, because a lot of people just aren't spending money. A lot of my clients are probably just like you. They're tight, cheap, and frugal, right? They don't like to spend a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
But then they're just growing their IRAs, and things are going really well right now. And then what's happening is later on down the road, now you have to start pulling income of that you're forced to. Now they're paying more taxes on money, and they got all the other money over here that they're paying taxes on, and they're like, what's going on?
If this is such a big conversation and such a big part of our retirements, where does this begin when they come in to meet with your team? How does this start to weave into that overall plan that you put together for each and every person that walks through the door?
Right in the beginning, because, you know, I ask about like what your income is, what your expenses are, you know, your assets, things like that too. And we talk about expenses. It's the hardest thing for me to get at from them is like, how much do you actually spend a month? But then when we uncover it, what's your biggest expense? Almost all of them, it's taxes. Right? And what are the percentage that you're going to pay in taxes? Well, it's going to depend on how much those assets are and how much you're going to grow from those and how much, you know, you're going to take from those. But yeah, that starts right in the beginning because tax planning is huge, because that's how much money, you know, is going out as well. It's another expense. Sometimes it's 20, 30, maybe it could be 40% in the future. And then you have all those other little taxes on top of that too.
Yeah, that's that difference between tax planning and tax preparing.
That's right.
We get a little confused in that, but we have this ability now to be proactive with our tax plan. And it's easier for some people than others. Sometimes we don't want to think about paying it all up front right now when taxes are on sale. And they are, but that's, I imagine, hard to really have some of your clients wrap around in their minds to think that that's the case.
Yeah, and that's why we use software, right? Software, and again, I have 80-inch TV screens in our offices, so we can forecast and show you, okay, what's your assets growing at today? And they're all like, oh, they're doing great. We're making 15, 20% every year. It's like, okay, well, let's not forecast it's always going to make 15 to 20%. Let's forecast it's going to make 5, 6, 7%. And just look how much those assets are growing. And then you turn 73 or you turn age 75, and then we show you how much you have to start taking out of those IRAs every single year. And some of my clients, it's 40, sometimes it's 100,000, sometimes it's 200,000. They got to pull out of those IRAs, and they're going, then you look at your taxes, and your taxes grow up, and they're like, uh-oh, like I didn't plan on that. Because they're trying to grow it. Well, you're just growing taxes. You're growing taxes. I call it cancer. You're growing cancer in, you know, your assets. So what we need doing right now is, while we have the taxes on sale, is start moving some of that money out, converting to Roth IRAs, right? You're going to pay a little bit of tax now, but you're going to grow that money back tax free. So we have a lot of strategies on that too.
Is that conversation becoming easier for people to, are more and more people coming to you, I guess I should say, with that knowledge now more than ever? We have information coming at us from all different directions. Some of it's great, some of it's not so great, but maybe we're becoming more educated when it comes to the taxes. We're certainly learning more about inflation and things like that that can impact our portfolios. So taxes is so important. I would think more people are trying to get on top of it a little bit.
It's usually around tax time, right? This is when they're really getting phone calls. They're like, hey, looks like I'm going to pay, first time ever, and I got to pay 30 grand in taxes. And it's like, was there something I could do? And it's like, yeah, we could have, but we didn't meet. Remember, when you wanted to wait and stuff. So yeah, we probably could have saved you $25,000 in taxes, and it's not that I've read all 6,000 pages of the, tax code, but, I work with a lot of CPAs, a lot of accountants, a lot of tax attorneys. So kind of know my things a little bit, and I can show people like, here's things you can do right now. A lot of people give money to churches and charities, right? And they're age 75, let's just say, and they're, taking the money out of their IRA, they're paying tax, they put it in their checking account, and then they write a check to the church or charities. How much do they get in a tax deduction for that? Like basically zero, right? Or maybe they get up to $600. Well, we can do what's called a QCD. That money can go directly from the IRA, directly to the church, counts as their mandatory distribution. They pay no tax.
Everybody, did you hear that? No tax. That is a beautiful phrase right there alone.
Yep.
Okay, there's so much more to this conversation. I know we could get into all different facets, and we will because we've got time coming up.
Yeah.
So stay right there. Still to come, you saved it, you invested it. Now, how do you actually keep it? Gary explains what it really takes to help protect your retirement from taxes. That's next.
More is usually better, but not when it comes to taxes in retirement. Tax rates might seem high right now, but these could be the lowest rates you ever see again. Think how that could impact your retirement. The good news is there are strategies you can take advantage of now to help lower your tax bill later and help get the most out of what you've saved for retirement. But don't delay. Time is limited and rates could rise soon. So act now to get your free tax analysis. Help uncover hidden savings and optimize your income in retirement. Take action and claim your free tax analysis now.
They say knowledge is power. Whatever you're doing, whatever your goals are, you'll probably never say you know too much. The same is true with retirement. The more you know, the more prepared you'll be for everything in store. And we've made it easy to get started. This free offer is packed with knowledge to help answer some of retirement's biggest questions. It's our gift to you. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Act now and claim your free offer today.
In life, it's good to know what you have to work with. Knowing how many nails you have before building that birdhouse. Knowing how much sugar you have before starting to bake the cake. But do you know how much income you'll be able to count on in retirement? Retirement savings are one thing, but knowing how those savings can turn into income is another. Are you confident you know what your retirement income will look like? Call our team and get a free income analysis today. We can show you what you might expect for income in retirement. Find out now so you won't have to wander later. Call for your free analysis today.
You've heard it before. Measure twice, cut once. When it matters most, it pays to take that second look. What about your retirement? When creating a plan to help increase your spending power, reduce taxes, build a legacy, and create income you can't outlive, another set of eyes might be your sharpest move. Take advantage of our free second opinion service. We'll see what you have and tell you what you might be missing, all at no cost to you. Reach out now for yours today.
Welcome back in, everyone. We're talking taxes. Gary Marriage has joined me once again. This is probably more of a favorite topic for him than a lot of us. It's just a tough topic sometimes, but we're going to get a little more practical now because, as we've mentioned, nobody wants to pay more in taxes than we need to, but taxes do stick around in retirement. Let's dive a little deeper here. You mentioned RMDs. I know we're going to get into that a little bit more too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So really like timing your withdrawals, right? Too. So, setting up a withdrawal strategy for your IRAs, and you don't have to wait till you're age 73 or wait till you're age 75. Maybe just make sure you're at least 59 and a half and then start, looking at these withdrawal strategies, and all has to do with taxes, right? So we can look at what your taxes are today and what they're going to be possibly in the future if they keep taxes the same going forward. 2028 is when all this changes, right? And the election's going to let us know if we're going to keep these tax laws we have or they're going to get changed, right? None of us really know. So we can kind of forecast either way. But the other thing is too, is just, what other monies do you have that you can take, assets from, possibly right now too, to reduce your taxes instead of taking so much from your IRAs. There's a lot of different strategies to that. We show people too, before they make these withdrawals, what they're going to pay in taxes on that. Right. So again, we make all the mistakes in the software before you do it in real life. And I think that's key, because if you want to pull $50,000 out of your IRA to, put a down payment on another house or a car, whatever that is, and I show you like, well, don't forget about the other money you pulled out earlier this year. If we do that, you're going to pay, $17,000 in taxes this year. They go, maybe I don't need to get that car right now. Right. Or let's take money from somewhere else, or maybe get a loan. Right? Some of the loans are less than 20% really right now, right? They're like 6 or 7%, much less to pay that than is paying taxes on the money.
What did you mean earlier when you said whether the tax laws will stay the same? I thought everything was permanent.
Oh, yeah.
Gary?
That would be nice, right? That'd make my job really easy, because it's always going to be the same.
The new definition of permanent, haven't we, when it comes to, depending on what president's in office, what the laws are. So when we hear that the tax laws are permanent, we really have to take that with a grain of salt, don't we?
They're permanent till 2028.
There you go.
And then after that, who knows? It's red in pencil at the same time. So, you're having some of the largest deductions I think you're ever going to have possibly in your life. Okay. My job is to help you get more deductions if you need it, though, too. But right now, 2028 is when we have a sunset clause that's going to expire on there. And who knows what the taxes are going to be at that point.
Well, and we do think about that. I joked a little bit, but it's very real that nothing is permanent. But we think about everything that's going on in Washington, the spending, the debt. What do retirees actually need to be planning for when it comes to all of this? This is something we couldn't do in our regular lives with our paycheck and, our income. We couldn't get into debt like the government has. What do we need to be thinking about as we move into retirement?
Well, you got inflation, you got wars going on, you got all these other things going on, but really you just got to sit down with somebody and just hash this out and look at it, right? Look at everything. So, and that's why I love doing forecasting and some of the software that we have and we built, because we can say, here's what your assets would have done had, the Trump tariffs happened, like April, last year. We've seen the markets drop like almost 15, 20%. Had you had your money in these accounts, this is how much you would have dropped. Here's what we need to do if that happens again. We're going to do some Roth conversions because your money has been reduced. So then when you take money out, you're going to pay less taxes. Then when the money, or when the assets or the markets do better and they grow, this bucket over here now is growing tax-free, okay? That will be the best money you ever have, is your tax-free money. That's the money you're gonna like to spend though too, because when you take money out of it, you don't pay any income tax.
Big deal.
Right? Yeah, so that's all we're doing, is just trying to structure these things out, forecast it and show you when's the best time, how much you should convert every single year, and Roth conversions so you pay less taxes in the future.
There are a lot of things that we need to be watching out for, but specifically if I'm working with someone who isn't weaving a tax strategy into my overall plan, isn't having that conversation with me, where do I start with making sure that I'm working with the right advisor?
Yeah.
I know your team's always ready to help, but truly, if I'm not hearing a lot about that tax talk,
you're probably making a big mistake.
Yeah.
Because they're growing the money, and that's great. Everybody wants to make big returns. But if you're just growing money and you're growing taxes, hey, let's do this, Amy. We're going to help grow this taxable account as big as we can so you can pay as much taxes as possible. You don't look too excited about that,
no,
right? But that's what's happening, right? I want to grow your tax-free account as big as possible, so it's all tax-free. So you don't have problems when you go on vacations or trips, or maybe you want to upgrade first class or something like that now, because you take the money out, you're not going to pay any taxes on it. And it's a great thing to have to go to a spouse too, right? A lot of people forget about this is, you're in a joint tax bracket right now, but if something happens to one of you, the spouse, the surviving spouse has the same amount of money than IRAs, because usually all that money gets compiled into one. Now they go to a single bracket. And sometimes your taxes go up by 25, 30%. It's called the widow's tax trap. They end up paying more in taxes at a widow, right? And then guess what? Then that money's going to go to your kids, right? They have to spend that money down in 10 years or less. They have to go through it. Now, I know I have some clients, they're like, my kids are going to go through it day one. They're going to spend all that money, right away. But you have to spend that money down in 10 years or less. So they pay more taxes too. So it makes sense to start doing tax planning right now and start looking at what we can do to start building this wealth out now tax-free for everybody.
Be proactive, planning, get ahead of the game a little bit. Anything we're missing on this conversation, maybe specifically that your team does to make sure taxes stay on the forefront of your clients' minds?
Yeah, and then we do quarterly reviews, right? So it's not just me; I got a team of advisors and a bunch of staff that helps out, and it's an awesome team too. They're awesome. A lot of them are smarter than me too. Okay,
hey, surround yourself with good people.
Yeah,
right?
make you look good too, right? Yeah,
exactly.
I pay all the bills, and they help out everybody. That's a great.
Not
team.
that they're telling people that or anything.
No,
I
know. I'll
came
tell
up
everybody
with that
that.
myself. Yeah.
But yeah, so making sure that you actually take your RMDs too, because some people forget, right? That's a 25% tax penalty if you don't take that money out before the end of the year. So just making sure up to date, those type of things too. But just updating like so much stuff, and that's why I think it's key that to do tax, planning, with clients, because it's great that you're growing all your money, but if you're growing it all taxable, and I call it cancer, right? We don't want cancer in our body. We darn sure don't want it in our money either. So that's the key.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much, Gary. Coming up, the pressure's on. We've got questions for Gary. I've got more questions, I guess. I've already asked him some. That's coming up in Retirement IQ. I snuck a couple tough ones in there, so we'll see if Gary knows his stuff when we come back.
In life, it's good to know what you have to work with. Knowing how many nails you have before building that birdhouse. Knowing how much sugar you have before starting to bake the cake. But do you know how much income you'll be able to count on in retirement? Retirement savings are one thing, but knowing how those savings can turn into income is another. Are you confident you know what your retirement income will look like? Call our team and get a free income analysis today. We can show you what you might expect for income in retirement. Find out now so you won't have to wonder later. Call for your free analysis today.
You've heard it before. Measure twice, cut once. When it matters most, it pays to take that second look. What about your retirement? When creating a plan to help increase your spending power, reduce taxes, build a legacy, and create income you can't outlive, another set of eyes might be your sharpest move. Take advantage of our free second opinion service. We'll see what you have and tell you what you might be missing, all at no cost to you. Reach out now for yours today.
They say knowledge is power. Whatever you're doing, whatever your goals are, you'll probably never say you know too much. The same is true with retirement. The more you know, the more prepared you'll be for everything in store. And we've made it easy to get started. This free offer is packed with knowledge to help answer some of retirement's biggest questions. It's our gift to you. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Act now and claim your free offer today.
More is usually better, but not when it comes to taxes in retirement. Tax rates might seem high right now, but these could be the lowest rates you ever see again. Think how that could impact your retirement. The good news is there are strategies you can take advantage of now to help lower your tax bill later and help get the most out of what you've saved for retirement. But don't delay. Time is limited and rates could rise soon. So act now to get your free tax analysis. Help uncover hidden savings and optimize your income in retirement. Take action and claim your free tax analysis now.
Welcome back in. It's our favorite time of the show. It's Retirement IQ. We've got the questions right here. We'll see if Gary is going to be successful. You ready? I know. Okay, here we go. Still talking taxes, as you might imagine. All right, here we go. A little bit of history lesson. What was the original tax rate when the federal income tax was first introduced in 1913? So 1%, 5%, 10%, or 15%. Wow, these are all pretty good.
Those are great numbers, right?
I like all these numbers.
Wish we'd go back to those.
However,
yeah, that 1%.
That's right.
Yeah, 1%.
Man, you and I were talking about, wouldn't that be so nice? The federal income, introduced in 1913. The tax rate was just 1% on income over $3,000 with a top rate. What was the top rate? Do you know the top rate?
I don't know.
This is kind of a 2-in-1 question.
Maybe 2%, 3%?
7%.
Okay.
And that was for the wealthiest Americans. So again, we have that idea still today, right? Where we
Yes.
kind of put that into motion. But, you know, it's good to have a history lesson every once in a while to take us back. And then on the opposite of that, what was the highest tax rate?
As of right now, or back then?
Back then.
You know, 1913 was just a couple years before my time.
Well, I don't know in
I'm trying to remember
1913, but I'm saying, what was it, 94% when
Oh,
Ronald
yeah.
Reagan? That was in the 80s.
Oh, that one, yeah, that was like 94%. Like that's why you only do 2 movies a year.
That's the thing.
Yeah, you
I
made
always-
like over 250,000.
I always think about that story every time I talk about
The
different
highest
tax
taxes
rates.
we ever seen. Yeah, it's crazy.
Poor
Let's
guy.
hope we never go
couldn't
back
even
to
do
that.
what he loved because, you know,
Yeah,
he's going
here we
to
thought he just didn't come up with that many movies. He wasn't that great. Now come find out
Right,
he's
that's
only doing
the
2 to
perception we
limit his
all
income.
had. I know, he could have been
Yeah.
great. Well, maybe he wouldn't have been president then.
That's
All
true.
right, well, true or false, the U.S. tax code is more than 6,000 pages long.
That's right. Yeah.
Oof.
And
that
every
is
time
just
we
a
have a break, we just sit here and we read through those two,
little
right?
light reading. Gary was reading it when he came in this
right.
morning. He was just flipping through pages.
Just so we could sleep tonight really well.
nonchalantly. This is why we leave this up to you, even
Right.
though you probably haven't read all
No.
many
And
many
it's-
pages.
Yeah, so you just have to go through these things too, and it's all the changes. There's changes seems like every single year with this too.
Well,
right?
that was what I was just getting ready to say. It's tripled in size in the last 40 years. So each year that, you know, another
it's a
several
big book.
thousand pages.
It's going to have like wheels on it before too long, right? It's just to
Bring
wheel
it
this thing
into-
around with the bucket.
Bring it into the to the Congress area. All right. What's the highest capital gains tax rate in the U.S. for high income earners? Okay, here are your options: 15%, 20%, 25%, or 28%. So
20.
Oh, wow! Look at you.
Oh yeah.
Very fast.
I have to know these parts.
Capital gains tax rate 20%. Keep in mind that some high earners may be subject to an additional.
Surtax,
How much?
3.8.
Okay, right on, 3.8% net investment income tax. Okay.
Yeah, so you get that on top of that.
Yeah,
It's
on
pretty
top.
wild, right?
That's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, so if you make too much, then you got to pay this extra. Then you got to worry about IRMA as
Mm-hmm.
well. That's where your Medicare premiums go up too. Then your Social Security can get more taxed.
Remember, this is supposed to be fun right
It
now.
is fun.
This is a
Yeah.
fun
So, but to keep you
show
from having to
that
worry
we're
about
doing
that, though,
right
too.
now.
Oh, I know.
I do think a lot of people, and we touched on this earlier in the show as we talk about all this tax trivia, the tax conversation that we've had throughout the show today, the word permanent and how long is this going to last? Sometimes when it's painful, we like, please let it be over.
Yeah.
But we can't ever get comfortable with this, can we?
No, we can't. Well, we can get comfortable until 2028. And then we're going to get uncomfortable again and go, oh my gosh, which way is this going to go? Right? Because just a couple of years ago, we were worried about the taxes going up and the deductions going down. And then there was the Trump taxes that basically made it to what we have today. So as a married couple, it's almost $50,000 you have in standard deductions. That's huge. Okay. And that's good till 2028. So after that, stuff's all written in pencil. This depends on how the elections go and where taxes go from here.
So once again, remember that word permanent, not necessarily what it means in the dictionary,
On
and
taxes, anyway.
especially when it comes to taxes. So, okay, this
right.
was fun.
Yeah.
Very good. We're going to wrap it up here in just a minute. Thank you so much, Gary. Coming up, Gary's checklist challenge. When it comes to taxes and retirement, how does your plan actually hold up? That's next.
You've heard it before. Measure twice, cut once. When it matters most, it pays to take that second look. What about your retirement? When creating a plan to help increase your spending power, reduce taxes, build a legacy, and create income you can't outlive, another set of eyes might be your sharpest move. Take advantage of our free second opinion service. We'll see what you have and tell you what you might be missing, all at no cost to you. Reach out now for yours today.
In life, it's good to know what you have to work with. Knowing how many nails you have before building that birdhouse, knowing how much sugar you have before starting to bake the cake. But do you know how much income you'll be able to count on in retirement? Retirement savings are one thing, but knowing how those savings can turn into income is another. Are you confident you know what your retirement income will look like? Call our team and get a free income analysis today. We can show you what you might expect for income in retirement. Find out now so you won't have to wonder later. Call for your free analysis today.
More is usually better, but not when it comes to taxes in retirement. Tax rates might seem high right now, but these could be the lowest rates you ever see again. Think how that could impact your retirement. The good news is there are strategies you can take advantage of now to help lower your tax bill later and help get the most out of what you've saved for retirement. But don't delay. Time is limited and rates could rise soon. So act now to get your free tax analysis. Help uncover hidden savings and optimize your income in retirement. Take action and claim your free tax analysis now.
They say knowledge is power. Whatever you're doing, whatever your goals are, you'll probably never say you know too much. The same is true with retirement. The more you know, the more prepared you'll be for everything in store. And we've made it easy to get started. This free offer is packed with knowledge to help answer some of retirement's biggest questions. It's our gift to you. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Act now and claim your free offer today.
Welcome back into the close of our show now, where we sort of give you a checklist challenge. This is an opportunity for you to bring in everything, Gary specifically, to bring it in for us, all the knowledge we've learned over the last segments of our show. None of us wants to lose a big amount of money that we've earned to taxes. So Gary, what do we need to do and give us those takeaways?
Well, speaking of taxes, number one, you don't want to wait to find out how much taxes you owe on your 401k or IRA. You don't want to wait till it's that time. You need to start planning for that before. Let's look at it now, how much you're going to pay in taxes when you turn 73 or when you turn 75, right? When you're actually starting to be forced to take those withdrawals out. So let's start looking at it now. Number two is talking about withdrawals, right, on your 401k or your IRA. So again, that age right now, if you're born before 1960, it's age 72 is when you're forced to take those withdrawals. Or you're going to wait till age 75 to take those. So we need to look at those withdrawals, how much you're going to need to take from your 401k. Is there anything you should do right now before those ages? Maybe you should start taking withdrawals out of those accounts now to reduce your taxes that are going forward in the future, right? And then number three, it's working with a professional, right? Somebody that does this every single day, okay? Sometimes not so much on Saturday or Sunday, but work with somebody that looks at the taxes as an expense. It's your largest expense, okay? And that expense is going to continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger until you get a fix on this. So that's basically my close of those 1, 2, and 3s.
Those are three good ones. I'm going to we have a little bit of time left here, but I'm going to go back to the withdrawals because I think withdrawals would be a part of this process that someone could really become paralyzed in. Just knowing, it's one thing to kind of get your plan set, know what taxes could do along the way, but then we are constantly faced with that decision of what that withdrawal, that spend down strategy looks like.
Yeah, especially if it's not keeping up though too, right? Which it should be right now. But if you have it in an account that's earning you like 1 or 2% and then you're pulling out 4% on top of that, or you've got a very risky portfolio and it drops 20% and you still have to take 4% out because of the withdrawals, now your money's going down faster too. So yeah, there's a lot of risk in there. We want to make sure that we're controlling the risk in there, but making sure that that money's going to last for as long as you need it. But again, we're trying to wash the taxes out of those accounts because what's going to happen in the future is going to say, oh, I wish I could go back. I don't know if you've ever said that before. I wish I could go back.
Coulda.
Right. Yeah. We've all said that. So don't fall into that gap. Give us a call and let's help you out and show you how we can start reducing taxes on your 401k now.
Yeah, I think probably that you've had some couples in your office before where one of them's a little riskier than the other with their investments. And the same can be true for taxes, I bet too.
Yeah, absolutely. But when I show them how much they're going to pay in taxes possibly, they're like, uh-oh.
We all agree.
Yeah, they're like, oh no, how do you get that number down, right? And usually it's in red. And I show them how much they got to write a check out for. And they're like, oh no. And I said, and that's only if you make 7%. What if you make 17%? What if you make 20%? Then that number is going to get bigger and bigger.
Yeah, this has been such a great show. Really important topic. Thank you so much, Gary. As always a pleasure to learn from you each week. There's no obligation, and the clarity that you've been looking for may be closer than you think. For Gary and the team at Nature Coast Financial Advisors, I'm Amy Sharp. Thanks so much for joining us this week, and we'll see you next time.